Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Oh, and by the way, if you hear me give out a telephone number, don't call because this is a rebroadcast, and our janitor Charlie will answer the phone, and believe me, you don't want to talk to him. He's an ornery little cuss.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Baywatch premiered in 1989 and ran for 12 seasons with a total of 242 episodes. The show followed the lives of a group of appealing lifeguards who patrolled the beaches of sunny Southern California. Renowned for its stunning scenery and slow-motion runs in bright red swimsuits, Baywatch quickly became a cultural phenomenon worldwide. Eventually, it became one of the most watched TV shows of all time, tallying an estimated 1 billion viewers for the series final alone. And for its two most popular actors, David Hasselhoff as Mitch Buchanan and Pamela Anderson as C.J. Parker, the show proved to be a massive boost for their careers as well. Hot off the sci-fi series Knight Rider, Hasselhoff's involvement, as well as his extremely prominent European music career, made him an international superstar. Although Baywatch was canceled after the first season, it was David's belief in the show, not to mention his own financing of the production, which set it on the course for ultimate success. And a newly cast actress in the third season helped a bit too, to say the least. Pamela Anderson gained worldwide recognition playing one of the show's most beloved characters, CJ, while keeping the show's popularity high during its run. As a result, her acting and modeling career flourished. Although not without their own highly publicized controversies, both actors survived the glass bowl of Hollywood to ultimately enjoy their successes in the industry. Baywatch remains a cultural touchstone and a beloved television series that inspired a generation. David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson's involvement in the show, as with the rest of the talented cast, fueled its legacy. But these two actors specifically will always be remembered as a crucial aspect of Baywatch's success. This is Pat McCormick with your retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel at Golden Rage of TV and my podcast, Retro TV Radio, available on most popular podcast platforms. And speaking of popular, now back to BK on the air.
WBHF in Cartersville.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I could make an entire show about what we're talking about off the air and just transfer it onto something else. So you want to just do it like BK off the air.
BK
like
off the air. That's important.
Yeah,
keep it
like,
off.
Keep it off. I already do that. I edit it into a podcast and then turn it into a podcast after I get off. But I could do like a third one, I guess.
Well, we'll kick it off here. Good morning to you and
Hey,
to everybody.
morning.
But
That's Matt Santini.
Some people are huggers. Some people are kissers.
Yep.
Some people are handshakers. You're an absolute handshaker.
Yeah.
We could be on the other side of the room
Sure.
and say hi, and it's like, no, we're bringing it in. We're shaking hands.
I could visit Matt.
There ain't
I could
stopping.
visit Matt
There's
in the
gotta
hospital.
got to be some physical contact.
He'd be like have the measles or something, or something. Matt, how you doing, Matt? Good to see you. I don't catch anything.
It's all right.
It's the one time I'll catch it, but
There you go.
that's awesome.
I just think we did a whole show on it.
I'm definitely, when it comes to guys, definitely the handshaker, somebody that I know, like, hey, bro, boom, the fist bump behind each other's backs.
Right.
But I'm definitely a hugger. I never was until I moved down here. I became much
You
more
didn't
like,
hug-
everybody likes to
You're not a bro hug guy?
You didn't
I
hug
can do that,
people
yeah,
in
like,
Michigan?
but it's always like the 1, 2, 3, because you know what that means. I'm not gay.
Is that what that means? Okay.
Notice it's 3 bumps. It's always. You haven't heard that?
If you have to keep
And
on...
I'm not gay.
I thought it was you're my friend.
No, you're my friend? Is that what you thought it meant?
I thought that's what it meant.
You just keep affirming yourself any way you want to.
No,
I know.
I'm comfortable enough either way, so we're good.
I'm totally fine with who I am.
Wow.
I'm like
It's
water.
other people that have a problem with that.
Okay.
true.
I'm going to bring up something.
True.
I'm going to bring up something, and I'm going to ask him dead serious about this.
Okay.
Your mom hugs you, and you have your mom, and your mom gives you a kiss, right? Your mom kisses you because
No.
you're her son. Your mom never kissed you ever?
No, when I was little.
Oh, she didn't kiss you now?
Not as an adult.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. My mom has never stopped giving me, a kiss on the cheek every time I see her. And I'll tell you something else, too.
A hug, yes.
My
not
dad.
a kiss.
You kissed back?
I kissed my dad, too, on the cheek. I did.
I did
stopped
that till
when I was 12.
I did that till my dad died. So,
yeah, and it
Really?
me too, man.
No.
Yep, I did.
that was just the way we brought up.
So,
kiss goodnight every
well,
night.
we knew Colonel Sanders probably wouldn't have appreciated that
I had a
from the
I
Army.
had a different kind of parent. What's wrong with you? Get out there and get a push-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Run the yard.
SWAT to the back of the head.
That's
50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and off to bed.
that was affectionate to you.
My dad's
Giving you
favorite phrase
push-ups,
is going to
yeah.
hurt you more than me.
And it always did.
Yeah.
Growing up, that's cool.
My dad was the person who, when he was going to give corporal punishment to me and my brother, asked who wanted to go first.
Oh, no. So you had to decide.
Yes.
Now, my dad one time, when we lived in New York, my older brother Greg and I, we shared a bedroom. We shared a bed.
Yeah.
Just the way the world was back then.
We didn't share a bed.
And, of course,
Bunk
there would be
beds.
hijinks and
Among boys?
antagonizing. Yeah, of course. We were 22 and 20. And no, just kidding.
He's still in the same bed.
Wait
we
a
were
minute.
like 8 and
Wait a
6
minute.
or whatever. But Greg would antagonize, and then I'd hit back, and then we'd start yelling at each other, and then of course parents would hear the tussling in the room next door and start, y'all go to bed. And one time my dad, he just had enough. He goes, look, I am too tired to deal with this.
No.
Because we wouldn't stop fighting each other.
Yeah.
So he goes, I want both of y'all to get on that rug right there, and I want y'all to go ahead and, I'm too tired to beat the heck out of you. I want the two of you to just beat the heck out of each other.
Wow.
Now let me guess how the reverse psychology works.
Yes. Well, I don't want to hit him. It's like, even though we'd been hitting each other incessantly for the past 45 minutes,
Wow.
now that it was time that it was okay, well, I don't want to do that. And he's
Wow.
like, you're either going to do it to yourselves or Mr. Belt's coming out.
You better do it. You better mean it. I'll know if
we
you're pulling back.
And we had different fathers too. My father never ever disciplined us, corporal discipline. My dad never struck us, whipped us, smacked us, spanked us. He never did that. My mom did that. But my mom may have disciplined my dad too. As far as I know, I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But mom would make us go. She's like, okay, you're going to get it.
Oh, go
I'm
get a
going to
switch.
spank you. Go pick your own switch off the tree. I'm like, I got to pick the weapon that you're going to use. That's even worse. So yeah, we had to do that too.
My mom, we still laugh about it. She had a wooden spoon, and that worked in earlier days. But when she got older, she'd try to come at us, and we were just faster. We would be able to run
Right.
away.
That's
Or she'd
right.
try to, grab at our heads to get us, and we would just kind of bob and weave and move. And so,
Oh.
of course, it was like, go to your room till your father gets home. And, boy, you could hear that. You hear that door closing the front door, and it was like, Jim? No. I was like, oh, God. And then you start looking for the rosary beads, and you're like, because it's a coming.
Matt's like, I much rather would have had the spoon from
These
Mom.
are things that Gen Zers don't understand, like going to bed
No.
early, hoping you can get out of it. Like when you get that threat, I can tell you the number of times. That's it. I'm done. When your father comes home, I'm telling him to come up there and beat you. Like, and you go to bed and you hope that he's not going to wake you up.
We were talking about it last week at Easter dinner. There was only one time because we'd get outside and play and just ruckus around all day, and we'd gotten in trouble. And the punishment was my dad was like, "You guys, you're not leaving the house tomorrow. You're staying in. You're not allowed to go out and play tomorrow."
That's horrifying when you're a kid.
It was horrifying, but it was horrifying to us as kids. But it was more horrifying to my mom that was home all day having to deal with us not allowed to go outside.
True.
And so when she got home, she was like, this ends now. You do something else, but these kids are not. Matter of fact, they may not be allowed inside the house tomorrow.
Well, this was impromptu, but this has been the BK nostalgic corporal punishment section of
There you
BK
go.
on the air. Thinking back on how we got disciplined, or as in The Shining, Mr. Grady says, corrected.
We have been
I have
corrected.
corrected them, Mr. Grady. I've corrected the children. And in his case, it was
All
much
out-
more severe.
All out of love. And again, there's no right way or wrong way to do it. Some people believe in it, some people don't.
Yeah,
But,
that's right. But it seemed to work with me. It really seemed to work.
Well, and it
I
never.
think I'm a pretty good productive member of
too.
society. I
I
kind of figured out where I fit in the world.
Yeah.
Well, and not to
Me
give
too.
away too much, but and again, being the two brothers, didn't have a sister, but then having a girl, our only child, a daughter,
Yeah.
it kind of changes things, and the will is a little bit different, and what gets to them is a little different. I remember distinctly Madeline one time she'd run out in front of a car at the Target parking lot or something, and I swatted her on the bottom. It was like, you stay with me. I told you to stay with me, and she was like, that didn't even hurt. And I said, oh, really? Guess what? Daddy's going to do that again when we get home, and it's really going to hurt. But she was obstinate, just strong-willed. She still is. But what would get her worse than that, and I don't know if it's this way for all girls, but it was like, I could do all that, and it just would harden her. But if I went, I can't believe you acted that way. You have hurt my heart, and you have just disappointed me. I'm so taken aback, and it would just she would crumble. Yeah. She would crumble like she'd been hit.
My oldest, and maybe it's the firstborn. My oldest was like that. My youngest, no, you had to beat her.
Well, they're all different, you know.
You don't mean her. You don't mean at cards or Monopoly. You don't.
No,
mean
I mean
to
within an inch of her life, and she's still mocking you. She's the. Oh yeah, is that it? And I can't.
You got
the number of times I've run in the room. Shut up! Your mom, like the battle of wills between moms and daughters. I have watched. I'm like, oh my Lord, just shut up, just stop talking, just stop talking.
I've wondered I want to know where my mom turned into the lady that she is when her grandkids, my sister's kids, how she treated them. I'm like, Mom, why couldn't I have had this part of you?
Oh, it's the Bill Cosby.
I said, what happened to you?
Yeah, it's the Bill Cosby thing. They're old now. They're trying to get into heaven.
Is that what it is?
I will occasionally get gifts from my mom's a huge quilter, so I always go to a place down in Marietta right by her house where I'm always like, is there something I can buy for her other than a gift card? And they're like, well, no, because all this stuff, we actually borrow stuff from her. She's got everything. She's got a whole lower level of her house is devoted to quilting. But they're just like, oh, she is so sweet. Oh, she's the kindest, sweet. I said, you would have no idea that woman used to drink and beat us within an inch of our lives when we were. That stuff wasn't true, but the look of horror on these women's faces.
I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
No, neither one of my parents.
Doesn't mean orange juice.
No, yeah.
Wow. Or something's in the orange juice. Wow.
Yeah. So it's fun kind of doing that, and then again we do that too. It's like, who is this woman? This is not the same woman who raised us.
No,
why are you treating them?
Not
so
even
nice?
close.
Astounds me.
My father-in-law says
that astounds me.
My father-in-law has said since Madeline was born that perfection skips a generation.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. My mom watches horror films now too. She loves horror films. I'm like, Mom, what invasion of the Body Snatchers pod replaced you? Because this is not the woman you was when I was growing up. Come on, I'd love to have shared horror and science fiction films with you. What happened to you? It's for the better, I think. I mean, her grandkids really reap the rewards of it, and my dad as well. Well, we're going to take a break. It's BK on the air. We're going to take a break and do Flash the Audio. We'll have more weird and strange stories coming up. We just had a few strange and weird ones right there involving us personally. So it's BK on the air. We'll be back.
We'll return after these messages.
So much life to be lived, so much to be tried, and when you share it you get a special feeling inside. You deserve a break today, so get up and get away to McDonald's.
My Tupperware lady has the freshest ideas, like all sorts of sizes and other surprises. My Tupperware lady has the freshest ideas for locking in freshness.
Go to a Tupperware party and see whole bunches of convenient ways to store and serve food. And more delicious colors. Go to a party soon.
Your Tupperware lady has the freshest ideas for locking in freshness.
Not every great movie or great arcade game makes a great home video game. That's why when Mattel Electronics turned Tron into Tron Home Video Games, we made sure the excitement of Tron gameplay found its way into your home. You'll know it the moment you square off against a recognizer, if you last that long. 4 great Tron games, 2 for Intellivision, 2 for Atari 2600. From Mattel Electronics, games as good as we say they are, maybe better.
Well, nothing like a little impromptu discussion that we didn't know what was going to happen when somebody pops into the studio.
It's a Beat Your Child Saturday.
Arthur Carlson himself, Matt Santini of the station, the station manager, comes in and wants to talk a little bit about things. And so we wound up talking about nostalgic discipline that we used to get as kids growing up. That was completely off the cuff after Pat McCormack and the golden rage of TV. Did you hear him? He was talking about Baywatch back in the day when Baywatch came on. And, you know, I never got to watch Baywatch. It's never I got to. I didn't watch Baywatch because to me, David Hasselhoff in my mind was still, he's Michael Knight from the Knight Rider. What is he doing working on a beach as a lifeguard? It's like when The Fall Guy came out. I'm sure if I went back and rewatched The Fall Guy, I might like it now if I watched it, but I never watched it as a kid because to me it was, that's a $6 million man getting his butt kicked as a stunt man. That doesn't make any sense. Driving a big 4-wheel drive truck around. I don't get that. It's a popular show though, but I just didn't. Sometimes things are in my mind and I can't get them out as something else. I typecast people. Mm-hmm. I'm totally guilty of
I told you that when I was young, I'd see an actor that I just associated with the character, so I assumed he's the same thing in everything, and I'd see him play a bad guy. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Right. You were disappointed. You were disappointed in the TV show Alice came on, and it wasn't Alice
from the Brady
Bunch.
From the Brady Bunch.
Isn't that right?
What the heck?
770-386-1450 is our number. Before we flash the audience, let's take a call. We got somebody on the line right now. Hey, it's BK on the air. Hello.
Hey, what's up? It's Eric. I'm still shaking.
Not stirred?
Yeah, I'm disturbed.
Oh, well, we knew that, but what are you disturbed about?
No, I'm sitting here minding my own business, listening to the show,
yeah.
and Pat McCormick comes on and talks about classic TV, and he talks about Baywatch.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Do you know how long ago Baywatch debuted?
Alan, I'm not that old.
Well,
yes, you are.
You know, I feel the same way. And then BK reminded me of an anniversary that came out of a movie I saw in the theater 40 years ago.
And we got it coming up, Eric. You got to listen. What movie celebrates its 40th anniversary?
This is not normal. I don't like this.
What's not normal? Growing old?
I don't like it.
It beats the alternative.
Yeah, you don't want to do the other thing.
I don't. Y'all trying to kill me.
Well, no, we're not.
I had a friend say a moment this morning. Y'all trying to kill me.
We're going along with you though. We're going through it too. You got part.
Man, y'all trying to kill me.
You got a friend.
I don't like this now.
You got a friend in me.
It hurts, doesn't it?
Let's go ahead.
Can we be honest, Eric? I mean, BK and I, we've gotten to the point where you can't stop it, but it still hurts when you think about it. It hurts. There are movies I look back and go. It's like
parental discipline. You can't stop it. You know what's going to happen, but listen, we'll get through it together. We really will.
What I do to you?
I got it. Well, it's nothing. But here's the thing. Let me share a quote with you, Eric. Listen to this. Mrs. BK told me something that Dr. Seuss said. This is an actual quote from Dr. Seuss. And once I thought about it, it made all of this a whole lot easier, getting old and remembering all these things. The quote is, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." There's some words of wisdom from Dr. Seuss for you to live by, buddy.
Well, I guess I might as well go get some cream of wheat.
Okay, well, all right.
I don't even know what I do to y'all.
How are you doing? Well, we're not doing it to you. You're like blaming us for it.
Eric,
it's the whole thing, you know.
Eric,
come on.
Eric, let me just hit you with one last thing. If you were to go in Michael J. Fox's DeLorean back 30 years,
this is not going to help.
Just go 30 years back. You know what? You will be entering season 5 of Baywatch.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Like when he went back in time in the 80s to the 50s. Remember that? That's how far back we are.
Y'all do not understand.
No, yes, we do understand. That's the thing. Yes, we do.
Because do you know when Baywatch debuted season 1?
Go ahead. Just hit him with it.
1989.
1989. Wow.
34 years ago, my friend. 34 years.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Words to live by. All right, hey, I got another anniversary coming up. Make sure you listen. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you, buddy.
So, Eric, I don't get him off now. He's going to pass out.
Remember when he had so much fun making fun of us because he wasn't old?
But see, that's the problem. He didn't know that he's getting old. He didn't stop to think about that.
No, see, that's the thing.
That's
Be
the
careful.
problem.
People in glass houses, don't throw stones.
That's the truth. I throw a brick through it. Just break every glass in there. All right. Well, we got some news flashes to get to because Eric called, but I knew that's probably one you wanted to talk about, and it was.
It's always entertaining. I told you, I thought it was a bit way long time ago.
Go.
I didn't realize he was a real person. All right, guess what? I got the first news.
He may still be a bit, and I don't know.
I think it's
I don't know.
It's definitely that's the best impromptu.
Eric is a real
It's
person.
improvised.
He's a real person.
All right, from UPI, a dog who went missing from an Alaskan island, folks, was found nearly a month later after crossing 150 miles of sea ice to the mainland. Mandy Iwarigan, who lives in Gamble on St. Lawrence Island, said she and her children were visiting the town of Savunga, elsewhere on the island, in March when two of their 3 dogs, Starlight and Nanook, they wandered off with their uncle. Now, Iwarigan said Ghost is well known for vanishing into the wild for weeks at a time and then coming home safe, but she was worried about Starlight and Nanook in the tundra. Iwarigan said it came as a shock when Starlight showed up on the family's last day in Savunga, 37 miles from home, 2.5 weeks later, while her daughters were playing outside. The mother said Starlight was safe, but there was no sign of Nanook, a 1-year-old Australian shepherd who had a close bond with her 8-year-old daughter, Brooklyn. She said that she was in for another shock about a week later when her father texted her to say people were posting photos in a Facebook group from the Nome, Alaska area, of a dog that turned up unexpectedly in the seaward peninsula town of Wales. That is 150 miles across the Bering Sea ice from St. Lawrence Island. Iwarigan said Nanook might have gotten thrown off course when the sea ice shifted while he was hunting for food. The dog was found with a swollen leg bearing a pair of bite marks with an unknown animal, but otherwise in good health.
I don't even want to get into what the animal bite marks it has. What could that have been?
Well, you're in Alaska.
Wow,
Bear,
it could have been
wolf.
just about anything. A good dog story with a good ending. There you go. Now that dog was an Alaskan dog that lived up there. My dog got lost like that, probably would not be able to go through what that dog went through. It's probably
I am
a tough
not that
dog
kind
already.
of a patient person. Like, yeah, it goes. My dog takes off for a couple weeks, then comes back. I'd be freaking out. If it's gone for a couple of minutes.
Me too. I'm like, where's my dog?
Where'd he go?
Where's my dog? Because I have a dog that's she's a Stalag 17 over the wall bolter.
Mm-hmm.
She will escape and go, and because she's gotten out a couple of times.
Yep.
It takes a lot to coax her back because there's 2 different kinds of dogs. Dog that you can let out. I'll let her out. She'll go use the bathroom in the yard. She won't go anywhere. She'll come back in.
Mm-hmm.
No, my dog gets out. There's a big fence in my backyard, and I have a big one. There's a big fence for a reason.
Yep.
She does not get out.
Same thing
man.
here.
They love the freedom. I got the next news. Again from UPI. A speed-drinking German man, yes, I said speed drinking, broke an unusual Guinness World Record when he managed to drink an entire Capri Sun. You know what a Capri Sun is? Mm-hmm. Drank an entire pouch in seconds. You want to take a guess how quick he drank the whole Capri Sun? Because they're not small,
3 seconds.
but they're not big. No, it wasn't that fast. It's
Okay.
a little longer than that.
Really? For some reason, I thought you just squirted down your throat. No.
Maybe you could, Mr. Pub Crawl there. But I don't know if this guy can.
Well, you didn't say alcohol.
It was right. It was 10.41 seconds. So I guess that's
I guess
a record.
If you have
that's
to
a
drink
record.
it through the straw, maybe.
That's what he was doing.
Ah, okay.
Andre Orthoff, who holds numerous Guinness World Records for speed eating and speed drinking, took on the world record in the city of Augsburg and successfully broke it within the time allotted, 10.41 seconds. The record was originally set in 2021 by a British man, Declan Evans, who drank a Capri Sun in 16.65 seconds, and it was broken later that year by a serial record breaker, Leah Studficker, who finished her beverage in 15.71 seconds. So, I guess drinking a Capri Sun quick isn't as easy as we think it is. Yeah, that's it. No time for the next news flash, but Alan has it when you come back, and it involves the wiener, Oscar Mayer wiener. It's a wiener story. It's PK on the air.
There's only one Capri Sun. It's great, tasting fun when you punch open one. There's only one Capri Sun. It's great, tasting fun when you punch open one. Lemonade, apple, orange, blue punch, new grape. It's Capri Sun.
Capri Sun fruit drink in the take-along pouch. 10% fruit juice, nothing artificial.
There's only one Capri Sun. It's great, tasting fun when you punch open one.
There's only one Capri Sun.
Oh, I wish I were Oscar Mayer wiener. That is joy I want to be. If I were Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me.
The taste kids love and a resealable pack. Oscar Mayer. What more could you wish for in a hot dog?
Oh, I wish I were Oscar Mayer wiener.
we're back. It's BK on the air. I want to remind everybody that I do turn it into a podcast. It's the BK Escape Pod. If you don't hear the show on Saturday, you can go to places like Spotify for podcasters, Spotify, SoundCloud, and I have my own wonderful YouTube channel. Go to YouTube. Everything's up there. I also post classic commercials and classic television bits and things like that up on YouTube as well. But we're going to continue to the audience, because we have more to go of these weird stories that we always love talking about.
Let me just jump right in then. First off, meat. How can you go wrong? First sentence.
Oh, no. Love it.
Meat manufacturer. Wait, are you a meat manufacturer? Did you manufacture that meat, or did you process?
Well, if you manufactured the meat, you're in big trouble because you're probably dead, right? Am I right?
They start off with a very weird sentence. Meat manufacturer.
How about meat processor?
There you go.
Processing.
Meat processor Oscar Mayer announced its recognizable Wienermobile is being transformed into a Las Vegas chapel for 2 days of weddings. The hot dog-shaped vehicle will be parked outside of the Little White Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas on April 15th and 16th. That's today and tomorrow, folks, for the Wienermobile of Love event.
Probably won't be the end of it either. They'll probably do it later.
Couples who sign up for a time slot on OscarMayer.com will be treated to an all-expenses-paid wedding ceremony outside the Wienermobile and led by Oscar Mayer employees known as Hot Doggers.
Hot Doggers.
Each ceremony will feature performances by a Wiener Whistle Quartet and serve up a wonderful odd wiener cake. Says the company. Spokesman Ed Rowland said Oscar Mayer receives thousands of requests each year for the Wienermobile to make stops at weddings. I bet the Wienermobile's at a wedding.
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I'd truly like to be. Is there another vehicle other than maybe the 1960s Batman that is so identifiable the moment you lay eyes on it that you could just see like a half a snippet of a second of a shot of it and go, I know what that is. I know what that vehicle is.
The Wienermobile.
It's great. I've got the next news. Hot dogger. Are you a hot dogger?
I love hot dogs.
From UPI, the New York Museum that houses the World Video Game Hall of Fame announced that it's installing a 20-foot Donkey Kong arcade cabinet designed to be the largest in the world.
Wow, it's like real size.
Now, while I read the rest of the story, you sit there and go... The Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester announced on social media that it is working to create the world's largest playable Donkey Kong arcade game. The machine will be 370% larger than the original arcade cabinet, but will be fully functional and available for guests to play, the museum said. This one just won't be a mock-up. You'll be able to get up, I guess, on a ladder and play this sucker. I saw the picture of it. It is huge.
No, you climb on the actual girders.
You just get up there.
They should have girders. They give you a mallet, and they have flaming barrels coming at you.
That would be great. The cabinet is planned to be 20 feet tall, dwarfing the 16-foot tall Tetris cabinet that holds the Guinness World Record. The Strong said Nintendo of America, which owns the Donkey Kong game, and associated characters provided input on the project. I got a Mario story coming up, too, and hearing a little bit about the movie that just came out, which has a lot of dollar signs attached to it. Donkey Kong, released in 1981... Erica's still listening. Features the first appearance of the perennial Nintendo hero Mario, although at the time of the game's release, he was known as Jumpman. They called him in Japan, and they called him that, I think, when the game first came out. The arcade machine is scheduled to make its debut on June the 30th. So there you go. I wasn't too bad at Donkey Kong. I could get to that fourth screen. You know, you get the first one, then you go to the second one where it's a bunch of girders and you got to go up straight to get to him at the top and open the little girder, pull the little pins out where it'll fall. Then the third one had that little elevator thing and the spring jumping across to knock you off, and it was even harder. I think I got to the fourth screen on that, and that's usually where I bought it.
At some point, I should probably just watch a video of how far can you go in Donkey Kong.
I think it repeats after that screen all over at the first one, but everything runs faster and is harder. I saw a tutorial the other day about Pac-Man, about how to play it a certain way, and there's a spot on Pac-Man that you could sit where the monsters won't get you. They don't know where you are. If you're in this one little spot, you're safe, I think, for not an indefinite amount of time, but it's kind of a safe spot. And I didn't know that. Many, many, many years later, and I'm still learning things about 80s arcade games that I didn't know about.
There were people I know who were like, oh, there's a pattern here. I'm like,
I could never get the pattern.
Huh? Like, yeah, if you go this route, it forces the ghost to go
and
things
they
and
could,
do.
And they could do it that way every time. And I'm like, I'm not
Those
a
are people who
mathematical.
flipped the score. Like, that was the big thing. Like, I flipped the score. I got back to 0 because nobody thought you could get that high.
They had high algebra scores in school,
never
too,
got
probably. They were those type of folks.
All right, I've got the next news.
They're the people you're working for now,
Yeah.
the smart folks.
A Virginia man successfully pressured local officials to fill in a large pothole after more than a year by planting a tree in the hole twice.
Right.
Josh Anderson of Hopewell said that he and his neighbors were becoming increasingly frustrated with the city's failure to address a gaping pothole at the intersection of South 19th Avenue and Richmond Street. The tree was swiftly removed by city workers, but then the hole remained. Said, I come back home from work and the tree was gone, so I pulled up another tree and I planted it, put some lights on it, Anderson said. Anderson said a crew finally came to the intersection the next day to fill the pothole properly.
Wow. Hey, if you don't get satisfaction one way, try to do it another one.
Did you see that story about Arnold Schwarzenegger mixing his own
I did.
asphalt?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of neat. It was kind of a PR thing. Oh, and I've got the last news. Again from UPI, transit police in Boston reported reports of a person with a long gun at one of the busiest stations in the system in Boston, but instead found a man dressed as Boba Fett from Star Wars after all the reports.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
Several Massachusetts Bay Authority officers who were expected to deal with a weapons situation arrived at Back Bay stations late Friday, only to find a person dressed as the iconic bounty hunter Boba Fett from Star Wars. The costume was complete with dark helmet, black non-transparent visor, and a replica weapon. The agency quickly gave the all clear. Now, the annual Anime Boston is taking place between Friday and Saturday at the city's Heinz Convention Center. That's maybe the reason the event draws thousands of people in the various sci-fi costumes. So there you go. At least it wasn't a stormtrooper.
But they said long barrel. Mandalorian has a long barrel, but doesn't Boba Fett have the sawed-off?
I have no idea. I think he did have a longer gun. Empire Strikes Back, he was shooting it at Bespin.
It had like a rifle butt, but it was cut off.
If you want to get technical, yeah, I guess. But that's
it
what
was a sawed-off blaster.
That's what the guy called on the phone and said it was. There's a guy down here with a long rifle.
Dude, I think he's gonna
it looks like a Star Wars character that I don't know nothing about, that I have not seen ever.
How would you look at a character dressed up and go, oh,
right.
He's carrying a real gun?
And he's a threat. I'm like, I would think, okay, the convention's going on. Maybe that doesn't look real. That looks like a fake costume. I don't know. Maybe it was an older guy and he just didn't get it or something. You know?
Maybe.
I mean, come on. I hate to think that I would do that one day.
Someone's got a gun. It scares me.
Because you know about Mrs. BK coming down the stairs one day and thinking she saw a belt or the cord from the vacuum cleaner at the bottom of the stairs. Oh yeah, that must be the cord. He must have been vacuuming earlier, and there's the cord to the vacuum cleaner at the bottom of the stairs. Oh wait, the cord's moving.
Wasn't it the first sign that you were caught vacuuming that you would have gone like, wait a minute?
Me vacuuming? No, that's a snake. It's not the vacuum cleaner cord. And it was a snake that happened to be in the house that day. So she didn't have her glasses on. So I can and I feel a little. And she doesn't care because she's lived with it all her life. But when her contacts are out and she has no eye thing on at all, like glasses or contacts or anything, if I walk into the room, she can't tell that it's me. She just can't see. Wow. And I would hate that and I hope I'd ever get that way. But she's lost her eyesight back when she was a kid, so she's always had glasses and stuff. But that would bug me if I lost something and I couldn't. If I couldn't function without that something, I'd be like, oh, all you got to do to me is it's like Burgess Meredith at the end of the Twilight Zone episode where the bomb hits the world and everyone's dead and he has all these books to read, but he steps on his only pair of glasses that he's got and he can't see anything. And he's the last man on earth. It's like terrible. Like, no. I would hate to think that that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I need readers.
I don't
even
like putting those on.
No. I don't like admitting. And it's me not liking or showing that I have to have them. I'm like, oh, I can't believe when I was a kid, you never think about stuff like that. Oh, I'm never going to need glasses. I'm immortal. Right. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. Well, you jump on a trampoline at my age and you do certain things later in life. You do realize age creeps up on you on certain fronts and backs and sides.
You could do little things like, hop a fence and tear your shoulder out.
Why would you say that?
Throw a ball and Now you can't lift your arm for a week.
Right. Cough or sneeze real hard and throw and pull a muscle in your back.
How do you have
ow.
to admit that? How'd you throw your back out? I sneezed.
And then I have to make up something. I'd never say that. I'm
You
like,
what?
well, I got in a fight with a bear in the woods.
How'd you get that hernia? Coughed.
I've
You
been
weren't
over-
like lifting a car off of a child. You weren't performing some horrific.
No.
I coughed.
I bent over to spit out the toothpaste in the refrigerator.
I had a hard cough come. Next thing you know, I felt a pain in my groin. I'm like, what the heck? And I've got this bulge. And I'm like, what?
No. See, now we're making Erica just feel worse than us, too, by the way. We're creeping up to the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to do On This Day in History. But we're also going to get into the anniversary of a movie that Alan and I love. It's part of the universe of a movie that we love, movies that we love in a galaxy far, far away. Hint, hint. 1983, 40 years ago. I told Alan this today on the way, just walking down the studio back to the break room to get some coffee. And I said, oh, by the way, a certain movie's got a 40th anniversary because it's coming back in the theater to celebrate it. And I told you, and you kind of slowed down your cup of coffee and hunched over all of a sudden.
I had
went,
to stop,
what?
lean over and catch my breath. I'm like, wait.
He's being like Fred Sanford and having the big one.
I did.
Like, don't drop your coffee. That's important.
No, I didn't drop my coffee.
No, you didn't. I had to hold on to you.
I know it's important in my life.
So we like to talk about it, how old things are, how old we are, how time is continuing to tick away. But who else is going to do it?
This is fine.
We'll do it.
Wait.
My dad told me.
Don't leave me.
My dad told me, and it's getting further away every minute. It's BK on the air.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. This is MacDonald Carey, and these are the days of our lives.
The fun, all the shows A to Z and the facts. What's behind what you see, TV Guide? The whole world of TV, that's entertainment. The stars underneath all the glow and the news from the people who know TV Guide. It's a fabulous show, so buy a TV Guide and read TV Guide. That's entertainment. Looking for a Saturday morning place to be. Step inside the magical world of ABC. Button your shoe, we're waiting for you to have some fun. Ready or not, you found the spot, and here we come. Meet, the road runner is hurrying by. Meet, keep out of his way. And in Lidsville, kids will find that every hand has got a face and something to say. Funky Phantom, he's a ghost from history. How he got to where he is a mystery. Make a stop at Curiosity Shop and find fantasy is everywhere if it's in your mind. Boom, boom, yeah. Boom, 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 yeah. The Jackson 5 are coming to town. So if you're looking for a Saturday morning place to be, step inside the magical world of ABC.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I want to say a big hello and shout out to Pat McCormack. Today and this weekend, he's at the TCM Classic Film Festival. That's right, Turner Classic Movies Classic Film Festival. He may check in with us next Saturday live to tell us all about it. He's been tweeting out photos of him and his better half there with Ricky Lake and Sherry Belafonte and other stars there just checking out Turner Classic Movies, celebrating classic films and stuff. And I know that he's just in hog heaven being out there. So I know that Pat is having a good time. Let's do a little On This Day in History. Didn't get to do it last week because we had a lot on the plate, but it's returned this Saturday. On this day, April 15th, 1878, Harley Procter introduces on this day in 1878 ivory soap. And I had no idea ivory soap was that old. It's been around
a
that
long time.
I'm sure the packaging looked different back then. It didn't have that pretty girl on, ivory soap or whatever. A big date in history today. 1912, April 15th, the RMS Titanic sinks at 2:27 a.m. Off the Newfoundland as the band played on with a loss of between 1,490 and 1,635 people. They still, I don't think, know the original count of how many people went down on the Titanic. But that was on this day in history. 770-386-1450 is our number. Hey, somebody's calling right now while we're doing On This Day in History. Let's find out who it is. Oh, their history.
Their history.
We'll have to put them on the list. April the 15th on this day in history, 1923. The first sound on film public performance was shown at the Rialto Theater in New York City. The first sound motion picture with sound on it.
The beginning of the talkies.
That's right, which a lot of silent folks were out of a job because when they were silent actors, talkies came along and sound came along, and when they opened their mouth, their career was over because they had terrible voices or just couldn't do it. 1941 on this day in history, April the 15th, the first helicopter flight for 1 hour duration happened at Stratford, Connecticut. Igor Sikorsky was the pilot. The first time they had ever flown one for an hour, making it practical, I guess, to use helicopters. I thought it was much later than that. I didn't know that that's when they actually did that. It wasn't the first helicopter test flight ever, but it was the first time they ever felt comfortable going up for an hour in a machine that had giant blades spinning above your head. Yeah. 1955 on this day in history. Listen to all the historical things that happened on April 15th. Ray Kroc opens the first McDonald's fast food restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. How about that? Des Plaines, Illinois. I heard that when he went in and ordered one, or in the movie depicted, he's played by Michael Keaton. She goes, "Yeah, it's a funny scene where he goes in and orders his food, and they give it to him like within a minute. And he's like, 'What's this?' They're like, 'This is your food.' He's like, 'What do you mean?' They're like, 'It's ready.' This is how we do it." No one had ever seen that before. You go in and order something like that, and boom, you got it. If only it was that way now. 1971. Takes a little longer now. We went backwards. 1971, the 43rd Academy Awards happened on this day in 1971. Alan, take a guess. 1971. Who won Best Actor? The person who won Best Actor for a character, the movie won Best Picture for the character he won the Best Actor for.
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott. And Patton won Best Picture.
Because Patton came out at the very end of 1970.
That's right. And Patton won Best Picture.
Came out the year I was born.
I wonder if that means something.
It means it's a great movie. It doesn't mean anything about me.
Today in 1983, 40 years ago, other than that movie we're going to talk about soon, Disneyland Tokyo opens in 1983. And I wasn't aware of that. That's a cool anniversary. Another movie premiered today, along with the one we're going to talk about that we haven't talked about yet. Flashdance premiered on this day in history. 40 years ago, Flashdance. See, there's another one, Alan, for you. 40 years ago, Flashdance.
What is it about tax day? We all need these distractions the day your taxes are traditionally
because it was still tax day back in 1983, right? Yeah. Same day.
April 5th. The only reason why it's not this year is because it falls on the weekend.
Yep, and it's later. And thank goodness it is. Today on this day in history, 1992, Star Trek, the original series, was inducted into the National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and DeForest Kelley were there in attendance to accept that.
Fantastic.
So that's cool, and it should be there as well. Birthdays today. I got to queue up one of these because there's a birthday that I got to queue up here for. But the first one. Today is Leonardo da Vinci's birthday today. Italian painter and sculptor, scientist, and visionary. Buddy, that doesn't even scratch the surface of what he's known for.
That's
what an incredible...
So on his birthday is the day Sikorsky flew a helicopter for an hour.
That's what it was. Became a viable machine to fly in.
It was Leonardo who came up with the concept of the helicopter.
I wonder if they timed it that way. It was like, let's do it on this day.
That's bananas.
Let's do it on this day. And today is also the birthday of a very magical lady that had her own television show.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Montgomery with a word to mothers about 2 new cereals from Quaker.
I'm Quake, the Earthquake Power cereal made with rice.
I'm Quisp, the Quaky Energy cereal made with corn.
Shh, excuse me. Quaker has reinforced Quisp and Quake with B-complex vitamins and iron. These 2 sweet cereals not only taste good, but they're good for kids, too. All right, fellas, it's all yours.
I love Liz.
I love her more than you do.
Okay, there she is talking about some cereal.
Voice of Elroy and all these other ones. You
Oh,
can hear
these
that
great
Quisp.
voiceover stuff. Elizabeth Montgomery. She passed away in 1995. And she had a great dramatic role as Lizzie Borden, the axe murderess, in a TV movie where you're like, oh, wow. Sometimes these actors or actresses will do a role. You're like, never seen them in a role quite like that before. But she was very effective in it as well. It was very critically acclaimed. Today is Roy Clark's birthday, American country singer, bluegrass guitar. And Buddy was a guitar and banjo player. If everybody goes, why isn't Roy Clark on someone's favorite guitar list? Well, he should be, because he was one of the most legendary guitar players ever. He died in 2018. Another rock guitarist, one of my favorite. If anybody asks me who's like my top favorite guitarist of all time, Dave Edmunds is always on my list. He's a Welsh rock singer and a guitarist. He was with a group called Rock Pile with Nick Lowe, and he had a hit with I Hear You Knockin' back in the early 70s, but he was a fantastic guitarist. Still is. Today is Michael Kamen's birthday, a film and composer and arranger. Wow, movies: Highlander, X-Men, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, License to Kill, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. He was also, do you know he was also the music arranger for The Wall for Pink Floyd? I didn't know that either. Michael Kamen died in 2003. And today is Emma Thompson's birthday. Great British actress. We'll be back.
And now, these messages.
What happened? Just fell off the swing.
He did? Well, let's see. Oh, a little Bactine will fix that right up.
That good stuff?
Oh, it's real good.
Bactine is unsurpassed in killing germs among the leading antiseptics.
Uh-oh, looks like you need some, too. Is that better?
Better.
Oh, you guys.
Bactine helps the hurt stop hurting.
Morning, sweetheart.
Hi. Can I fix you some eggs?
How about oatmeal?
Okay.
Samantha, I thought I told you no witchcraft.
I didn't.
Don't cover up. It takes time to make oatmeal. There's not even a pot around.
There's no trick to it. Really. I used instant Quaker oatmeal. You just pour a packet into a bowl, add boiling water, stir, and it's done. With instant Quaker, anyone can make oatmeal in a hurry. Even mortals.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air. We got a little On This Day in History to sew up the end of On This Day in History, what national day it is. It's always national something today. Today is National Anime Day. And by the way, I was introduced to anime. That's Japanese animation from Japan. I was introduced to it by Speed Racer on Saturday mornings on TBS, the local Channel 17 station in Atlanta, which turned into the Superstation. Then I watched in Battle of the Planets was another one that I got into, and Star Blazers. Alan, what was your introduction to anime? So Battle of the Planets was your introduction.
Called it G-Force where I lived.
Yeah, you saw the repackaged version of it, which is fine. Did you know that it was
Kimba, and I had Felix the Cat.
Yeah, and did you know that they repackaged G-Force again? It was Gotcha Man in Japan. Then it was Battle of the Planets in the early 70s for American audiences because Star Wars came out and they needed something for television. Then they repackaged it, I think, and called it G-Force. Then in the 90s, they brought it back as, I think it was Eagle Riders, with even different voices, and it was terrible.
Don't even connect.
It was terrible. We just wanted a cool name that flowed off the tongue. And today is, imagine that. Today is McDonald's Day. Today is McDonald's Day.
It makes sense if today is the day Ray Kroc opened his first restaurant.
Today is, take a wild guess what the next national day is today.
Does it have to do with something we talked about earlier?
No, it's Take a Wild Guess Day today.
Is that what it is?
It certainly is. If you'd have said that you would have been right. Now, here's two that just, I don't know why they put these two together. It's also National Husband Appreciation Day and National Laundry Day today. So I'm like, what kind of sick joke is that? What does that mean?
Is the husband
I don't know what
shouldn't
that
do
means.
the laundry.
Is that what it means? Okay. No, I'll take that.
I've been told that. I was told I'm not allowed to do laundry. I apparently have no idea how to do it properly.
You know what's funny about our home is we have different laundry requirements. Well, and when I say our home, it's just two people. We do our own laundry. Because there's certain clothes that she has that are washed and dried a certain way. Some things that go from a washer, not the dryer. You got to hang that up. Don't put it in the washing machine. Don't put it in the dryer. I don't know which one it is. And there's certain ways that I like my clothes done. There's certain shirts that I don't like drying to the point to where they're burned up with heat, where they start to get that, they start to wrinkle at the collar and stuff, and it's horrible. I take some of my shirts out right just before they're completely dry and hang them up and let them air dry. So we just do our own laundry. We all in our house. You don't do your own laundry, it doesn't get done.
However you ladies want to do it.
Yeah, and we split like the towels and stuff, like other things. We do laundry when that needs to be done.
My missus has decided I am incapable of doing anything correctly when it comes to laundry.
That's okay.
And I'm okay with that, too.
What you should do is really mess up that hen house that you're building out back. Really mess it up. That way you won't be able to do that stuff anymore either. See, I should have told you before you started. Don't do it right. Make it look like it's from Beetlejuice.
I had that male thing. I'm good with tools.
No.
Now I'm like, dang it.
I am so glad that I'm totally
so
fine.
many projects.
So fine with my manhood to completely admit. I don't know. What is that? A wrench? Okay, if you say so. That's a screwdriver? Okay.
It's a hammer, Bill.
Okay. I already know. I've never used a chainsaw in my life except just for Halloween. Let's do this story. I got a movie story here. We talked about, what were we talking about the games earlier? Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Talked about Donkey Kong earlier.
Classic.
Well, look at this story I got from Variety. Super Mario Brothers is a huge hit in the theater right now.
Oh, it is.
The video game adaptation has crossed, now it's even further because this story came out the day before yesterday, the latest story, crossed the 500 million mark at the global box office just this past Wednesday, shattering records with the gusto that its title character usually amasses via power-ups. To date, the animated venture has earned $260.3 million domestically and $284.4 million internationally. And I don't agree with people that just counts domestic money as a movie. That's not true. When a movie makes money, you got to count how much it's making around the entire world. Because if you have a company that makes widgets and you sell them worldwide, you don't just consider your profits from America. You consider your profits worldwide. So that's what I think. So its worldwide haul is $508.7 million.
There's one flaw in your thought there, and I'll be happy.
What's
to
my
point it
flaw
out.
to that?
The flaw is just because a movie does well overseas, if it doesn't do well in the domestic, it more than likely will not get a sequel.
Well, that's fine, but that doesn't mean they didn't make money on it.
No,
though.
you
That's
can
the
say
thing.
it made
Yeah,
money.
that's fine.
But if it doesn't make
Right.
it, you can't ignore the domestic profit
No.
because the bean counters here only care about.
Maybe they'll, and I don't understand that.
I don't
if it
either.
makes money, it makes money.
Here's a perfect example: the World of Warcraft movie, terrible movie, a lot of money spent on it.
Yeah.
Chinese audiences loved it, made a
Right.
lot of money in China. Not going to get a sequel.
But they'll never make a sequel. But they'll come out with another game, though, and continue the game progression. Now, it is now the highest, this film, Super Mario Brothers movie, it is now the highest-grossing film of 2023 at both the global and domestic box office, surpassing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Unlike that movie, people seem to enjoy this one. More important, it also makes the Super Mario Brothers movie the biggest video game adaptation in history, topping the grosses of Warcraft, that Alan just mentioned, and Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which I think neither one of those did all that well, did they, that I remember? Now, the Super Mario Brothers movie was produced by Universal Studios, Illumination, and Nintendo, and had been in the works for decades. Part of the delay was due to Nintendo's hesitancy to return to the Mushroom Kingdom on screen after a 1993 live-action adaptation flopped in spectacular fashion and was derided as one of the worst movies ever made. But wasn't that the
Bob Hoskins?
Bob Hoskins and the comedian guy playing the other one. It flopped.
Yes.
It flopped.
It was terrible.
They worked hard in hand with Nintendo to do justice to the mustached plumber and his brother Luigi. That meant that Illumination's production company founder Chris Mendelandi co-produced the film, and the legendary Nintendo designer who created Mario, along with the gaming classics like Zelda and Donkey Kong, were involved. Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelnick directed the Super Mario Brothers movie, which features a voice cast of Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Jack Black. Isn't Anna Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa in the new Mad Max Furiosa movie?
I believe so.
I think she is.
A pre-Furiosa.
A Max prequel. It carries a production of $100 million, which is economical for an animated film. Pixar and Disney animated movies, for instance, just to give you some comparison, often cost twice that figure when they come out with an animated film. Well, they're Pixar and they're Disney. They can spend more on their movies. But some of theirs flop. I mean, didn't Buzz Lightyear, the movie Lightyear that came out, that did not do as well as they thought it would at all. For Pixar, it didn't perform well. So we may be seeing a shift now. I think I don't know what's happened. I try to tell the future, but I don't have a crystal ball I can't tell what's going on. I can only just give you my gut feeling. But I think Marvel, the MCU, may have peaked. I think we have seen probably the peak.
We'll have to see what Guardians 3 does.
Yes. And I don't know.
But you know why?
Well, I know the reason. Yeah, there's probably a mixture of reasons, but it's more one reason than anything else. I think it's a mixture of reasons. Because, number one, really, if you think about it, things don't last forever. Even though the James Bond franchise is one of the longest-running movie series in history that has continuously been going and been successful, even the Bond films have had their eddies and their peaks and stuff. You know, they've gone down into, not so much in favor anymore. Then they come back up again and whatever, due to whatever reason. So I think we're seeing that now. We might see a shift. But are we seeing a shift toward video game movies? I don't know. I don't know why Super Mario Brothers the movies is doing so well.
Okay,
because I don't plan on seeing it. I'm not a big fan of that. I probably won't see it at all. If anything, I might accidentally see it later streaming on
I
TV
fully
or something.
believe that it does what a movie's supposed to do. It's going to be fun. The adults have humor in it for them.
You know
kids
what
have
you're
it for them.
expecting.
It's going to be nostalgic for the older audience,
Right.
but Mario is still prevalent for the younger audience. It has universal appeal.
Yes, it has that.
That
a lot of
helps.
people are going to see it. Some people aren't. But
from
it
those
has
that
been
I know that went to
successful.
see it, they're like, it's not even that. It's a good movie. Like, it's got a great story, got a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, a lot of good fun. It's a good movie.
And somebody told me, I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but I think there's one part in it where the video game that it's kind of based off. It's not based off Donkey Kong. It's based on the later game where Mario's the star. Didn't he yell in it at one point? There's a little sound bite of him going Mario or something like that. I think there's a sound.
It's a Mario.
Yeah, the guy I heard that either that sound or the guy that does that voice, that sound is in this movie. One little quick time you can hear it. It's the actual noise from the game. If I'm wrong, correct me on that, and I'm sure somebody will if I am. But that's kind of nostalgic in its kind of in itself right there. Let's talk a little bit about what's streaming right now. You're watching a show right now that you're really into. It's called what'd you tell me it was called?
Well, which one?
The one that you
the one that I finished, or the
one
that
you
we just
finished?
started? The one we finished called The Night Agent.
The Night Agent, which you said it's kind of a political spy thriller type thing.
It's a techno thriller,
which is cool.
You know, guy that works for the in the White House
Right.
gets a call, find out agents are being attacked, and you realize there's a conspiracy.
Sounds like something Mrs. BK would love because she loves that kind of stuff. She loved the
It was
show.
great.
She loved the show with Jamie Spader called The Blacklist until it completely just jumped the shark and fell off the tracks or something, and she gave up on it. Something happened that a lot of the fans didn't like. But she also liked to watch the movie where the president gets killed and the vice president takes over, A Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland.
It wasn't
she
the
loved
vice
that
president.
show.
He was some like 30 levels
Oh,
down.
that's
in
the whole
government.
cabinet, and people were blown
Everyone
up.
gets
Yeah.
whacked, but him. I've watched the first 2 seasons. I've
She
enjoyed
liked it. She liked that movie. But he's in a new movie, a new show, too.
Rabbit
Kiefer.
Hole.
Yeah. Can he do another type of show? I think all of his shows
No.
are kind of like 24. They're all kind of the
He's
same
also
thing.
developed the exact same acting style for
Right.
every one of his characters.
That's right. So I think Kiefer's, but hey, who cares? He's working, and he's getting work, and he's an actor.
Yeah.
More power to him.
You know what?
And-
Typecast me.
so-
I'll play the same thing every
Right.
time. I'll collect the paycheck and
Why
cash it.
not? You'll show up on Gilligan's Island every week and get your check, won't you?
I have no problem with that, sir.
For you to be known around the world and that fame, that would
I
be
don't even
fun,
care
I
if
think.
I'm known. Just give me a check.
I'm continuing to watch Picard season 3. The latest episode came out this week, and it comes out every week. And The Mandalorian, even the new Mandalorian episode that came out, I really like, because I noticed that the Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau wrote the newest episode, and that the third season of The Mandalorian has been the weakest and my least favorite. And wow, imagine that, the third season of Picard has been my favorite, and I don't even care about the first 2 seasons of Picard. This new third season is really blowing me away, and I'm telling you, everybody, if you want to jump on board Picard Season 3, you don't even have to watch the first 2 seasons. And that tells me a lot about the creators and how they just kind of went, let's just kind of forget the first 2 seasons happened. We'll mention a couple things that happened, but for the most part, people can just watch this season and enjoy it. And, buddy, you will talk about feeling old. You'll feel old and nostalgic watching it. But it's a good kind of old and nostalgic watching the Picard Season 3.
Smile.
It's speaking on it. That's right, Dr. Seuss.
Stay tuned. Next on Battle of the Planets, Earth is attacked by a frightening craft from outer space. A monstrous serpent-like ship sent by the evil ruler of planet Spectra to devour all of Earth's oil resources.
Transmute. Well, we finally smoked you out and got you in the air. Come on.
Watch as a young girl joins up with G-Force to help Mark and the rest of the team defeat this latest menace devised by the evil Zoltar. Be sure to watch this exciting episode coming up next.
We'll return after these announcements.
Artu? Where are you? Artu? Artu? Artu, you're on fire! R2-D2, you found a cigarette. Well, I don't think smoking is grown up at all. Because it's very dangerous. Smoking does dreadful things to your lungs and is very bad for your heart. Well, I know I don't have one, but humans do, and I think we should set a good example. Well done, R2. Oh, hello. You know smoking is bad for your health, and it isn't grown up at all. So please, don't smoke. R2, do you really think I don't have a heart?
The galaxy explodes. The rebels return. You can relive it all with Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
Rebel attack squad ahead.
New Imperial shuttle. You have to put it together. Batteries not included. Action figures each sold separately.
After him. Excellent, Lord Vader. Death Star signaling. Ring up. Prepare to land. Landing gear down. Ramp engaged. This battle station better be ready or... Yes, my Emperor.
New Imperial shuttle. Action figures sold separately. From Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
When it comes to shows about movies and comic books, heroes and crazy news, I tune into BK on the Air from 10 to noon, Saturdays.
Return of the Jedi. From the desert fortress of Jabba the Hutt. Jedi. To the Death Star of the Galactic Empire. To the forest city of the Ewoks. This is the climactic chapter in the Star Wars saga. Remember the Force. Rejoice in the triumph. Return of the Jedi. Rated PG. Now playing at a theater in your galaxy.
That may be more true than you know now playing in a theater in your galaxy, because I have the story right here. We talked about growing old and memories and stuff. Let's push our minds back to 1983. Alan, where were you in 1983? What grade were you in?
83. I would have been 12, coming up on 13.
12, going on 13. I was a junior in high school.
So I was in middle school.
Again, I'm
eighth grade.
your buddy that would have picked you up and taken you to the toy store or to a movie or something. You know, if my family had known yours. Just go grab Alan. He's ready. Can we go see Return of the Jedi? Yeah, we can. I got in trouble. I didn't get in trouble, but we did something a little controversial back when I saw Return of the Jedi. My mom dropped us off, and I met friends to see it. You know, back in the old days. I mean, my mom was dropping us off for years at theaters, just dropping us off, going to see movies, you know.
Yeah.
Even when I was an infant, she just passed me off to a guy and said, hey, take him in there and keep him in the theater. We were dropped off with friends. Hey, I drove by the theater, the Twin Cinema in Gadsden, Alabama, about just before Christmas of last year, and the cinema that I saw Return of the Jedi in is still there, only it is abandoned. But it's still there. It still has all the theater marquee stuff on the front. It's still a building and a movie theater. It's just falling apart. It's just kind of sitting there. It's out like in the middle of a parking lot. It's just kind of sad. But the Gadsden Cinema is still there. We went in to see it. We're all looking forward to it because we're all, you know, it used to be in the old days we had to wait 2.5 years to see a Star Wars story of some kind come out. We had to wait. We couldn't just stream something and see it any time and just see, hundreds of shows at once. But now we walked in, got our popcorn, sat down with my buddies, and the theater that I saw it in, they would play the national anthem in this theater before movies. They just play the national anthem. People got up and put their hand on their heart where they should or saluted properly. But we were teenage kids. We were little stinkers. So what we did was when the Star Wars theme came up after the 20th Century Fox fanfare, we stood up and saluted. Well, they didn't like that very much. They told us to sit down. A couple of guys said, sit down. That's disrespectful. You should have stood up during the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So, little teenage shame there. Maybe. And let's just put it this way. Teenagers don't make the best decisions. So they shouldn't always make them. So I didn't make a good decision. I'm not that way now. Don't get me wrong.
It's not what
terrible.
I'm hearing, but that's a different topic altogether.
Well, some people want to give infants and tiny kids life decisions, but to me, that doesn't work. If you can't decide between right and wrong, you don't need to decide about a lot if you're still a skull full of mush that's learning things in life. Come on, give me a break, no matter what it is. I don't care what it is. From Yahoo News, here it is. Return of the Jedi is returning to theaters for its 40th anniversary. It may be several years before the 3 newly announced films bring Star Wars back to the big screen. They do have some planned. We may be waiting that long on James Bond, too. However, Return of the Jedi, the 3rd film in the original trilogy, is headed back to theaters later this month, here in April, as revealed at the Star Wars Celebration in London this past weekend. Return of the Jedi will return to theaters April 28th in celebration for the film's 40th anniversary. So I remember when I went to see it. I'm sure, Alan, you remember as well. Now, let me tell you this much. As far as Star Wars movies are concerned, me personally, and a lot of people I know think this way, the classic original 3 Star Wars films are classic. They can't be touched. You can't make another one better than any of the 3. Some people might disagree with me on some of them, but they are the 3 classic ones, especially the first Star Wars movie. It's without it, you don't have anything. They could have made Star Wars and never made another film, and it would have been still a classic in itself that stands alone. But Return of the Jedi, not my favorite out of the classic 3, but I was so excited when I saw it. I loved it. It was such a wonderful, awesome, again, Death Star battle at the end, but still, ILM was getting better and better. They could throw more ships in there. They could show what they could do. It was really out of this world great. Some things I hated. I mean, even back then, I'm like, Ewoks, come on. These George Lucas made Ewoks for one reason. He made them, and the word is Smurfs. Back then in the 80s, little tiny creatures were all the rage. Smurfs, Ewoks, little things like that on Saturday morning. They were popular, so I think that's why he did it. Also, he wanted to show the Wookiee planet, and he couldn't do it for some reason or whatever, and he decided not to do that. It might have been better, but I still loved Return of the Jedi. I went and bought all the Topps bubblegum trading cards and would buy them before I went to work. When Return of the Jedi came out, that's when I got my first job. I remember working at a department store called Bill's Dollar Store in Center, Alabama, and then, like I say, I remember in 1983, I was a junior in high school. And I wasn't even, I was driving, but I shouldn't have been. I had a permit, but I wasn't really supposed to be driving with no one in the car, but you know how teenagers do. They make bad decisions. I've said that already. But do you remember going to the theater to see Return of the Jedi? Do you remember seeing, hey, this is the 3rd movie. What's going to happen after Empire Strikes Back?
No,
Where's Han?
I absolutely remember going. It was a whole family thing because I remember my mom took me and my brother and her best friend and her 2 kids, which were about the same age, to see Star Wars when it was in the theater.
Oh, 77,
So then we went to go see Empire Strikes Back as a family in the theater, and then we had to go see Return of the Jedi as a family. So it was a family affair, and then I think I ended up going again with friends just to see it again in the theater.
Oh, you saw it more than once.
I remember watching the trailer. Here's the thing that was, and it sticks with me to this day. When you have the trees getting hit by the blaster fire in Endor and they're literally splintering.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
from the laser shot.
How did they do that?
Right, it's great.
And I was blown away with the trailer on TV showing that sequence of fighting in the forest. And I'm like, think like James Bond. What I loved about what Star Wars did is it took us to different terrains, different seascapes, landscapes, whatever.
You got desert with Star Wars. You got ice planet with Empire Strikes Back. Then you got a forest setting for the 3rd one. You couldn't be more different terrain in the 3.
Love it.
Now, some of the highest parts of Jedi, I thought, the rescue on Jabba's sail barge that Luke does is a great action sequence. The Sarlacc pit, great action sequence, which will be revisited later in the Boba Fett streaming series. At the Sarlacc pit, which is now. Which is actually a monster in the ground with giant teeth. They couldn't have thought of something more hideous.
The whole battle at the sail barge Sarlacc pit is fantastic.
It was a great action sequence. I loved the speeder bike chase in the woods of Endor, which was exciting. It was blue screen, but at the time, it's still exciting to watch the way they put it together. They would use a motion camera to go through these woods, these real woods footage for these things, and walk through and then play it back at an incredible, like at a different speed, and sped it up. It meant they had to walk. And, they weren't really running toward a tree and had to swerve and hit it. He walked real slow toward the tree with the camera and then moved around the tree.
Right.
But when you play it back fast, it looks like you're going to hit it. So, and then the Death Star battle at the end when we had hundreds of TIE fighters, and that shot of the Falcon coming through all those TIE fighters, that they said at the time that was the most intricate special effects shot they had ever done, was to get all those ships together.
Everything's a practical model, and they had to all be sized, and they had to
every one of them.
single element and layer them all.
Yeah. Now it's like 2 clicks on a computer, and I guess they can do it.
That part of the movie that I really enjoy is the fact that you've got 3 individual battles happening at the exact same time.
Yep.
You've got a land-based battle that's going
on Endor.
all wonky on Endor.
Yep.
You've got the battle of wills between the Emperor and Luke and then Darth Vader.
On board the Death Star, yes.
And then you've got the space battle buying time for Han to get the job done. I mean, you're constantly, and just when you think, okay, we cut back, and then we go back.
Oh, now we're going back to this. And it's edited wonderfully.
So well done.
You're going back and forth between these battles because it's hard to keep up with something and cut that correctly. But all the Star Wars films usually were edited really well because Lucas is good at that, and he didn't edit them, but I'm sure he was there with editing going, okay, now that's nice. You're doing a good job. How about doing this maybe? Because we know he's kind of facets in everything.
Well, it was his editor that made Star Wars so good.
Oh, yeah, and I think it probably may have saved the film in a certain ways because a lot of it wasn't finished. So we'll keep talking about it when we come back. I want to try to do a quiz. I sent Alan a quiz from MeTV. Who said it, Ralph Cramden or Archie Bunker? 2 very kind of similar characters from 2 great actors in sitcoms. We'll do that. But when we come back, we'll split it up. I want to tell I got 2 or 3 fun facts I printed out about Return of the Jedi you may or not know when we come back. And then we'll have time to do the quiz when we come back. It's BK on the Air. Some facts you may not know. There's one on here that I did not know about Return of the Jedi after all these years. You're always learning all the time. Yes, it's BK on the Air.
We will return after these messages.
From the leading edge of technology comes a new generation of video electronics from Zenith. At the touch of a button, the giant screen rises and you enjoy Space Screen 45 TV. Push a space phone button and turn your TV into a telephone. Produce a movie with your VCR and play it back on Zenith's new component TV system with stereo capability. Video high-tech, part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
There's only one Tic Tac, the original mouthwack.
Daddy bought me the best mints money can buy. But nothing matches the whack of a Tic Tac.
I drifted for a while. Lozenges, breath mints, but you can't beat the old whack.
There are lots of substitutions, but there's only one taste sensation like Tic Tac, the original mouthwack.
Now there's a Tic Tac with berry on one side and cherry on the other. The Tic Tac double whack pack.
Now back to the show.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can see why all of his friends are 14 years old.
And now, back to a guy who has no idea what a call of encroachment means, but he knows what roughing the listener is all about. It's BK on the Air.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the Air here, AM 1450, 100.3 FM, WBHF. Having a good time every Saturday. We talked about the anniversary of Return of the Jedi coming up and how it's being released in the theater again. Alan and I were sharing our memories about going to see it back in 1983, 40 years ago. Some fun facts about Return of the Jedi before we get to our Ralph Cramden and Archie Bunker quiz from MeTV. The Emperor's chair that was in Return of the Jedi, you know, the big chair that the Emperor sat in, was mechanized so that it could rotate when the scene called for it. However, the mechanism never worked properly, so Ian McDiarmid had to make it move by shuffling his feet under the robe. A piece of tape on the floor told him when to stop so it would not be visible to the camera. It'd be funny to see his little feet going turning the thing around, but you never see it on camera. That's like in Star Wars with Peter Cushing that played Grand Moff Tarkin. Mm-hmm. The boots that he had as the Imperial, as Grand Moff Tarkin, didn't fit him, the costume boots. So there's only a couple of long shots of him with the entire uniform on because they killed his feet. They were too small. He can only keep them on for just like about a couple of minutes, and you had to take them off. Every shot of him where you don't see him full, he has a pair of slippers on. Nice Imperial slippers. They should have the Imperial logo on them, which would have been great. Here's something else. The Jabba the Hutt puppet in Return of the Jedi took Stuart Freeborn's team. Remember, that's the guy that made up Yoda, to design Yoda. Took his team 3 months to build. It cost $500,000 to make and weighed Jabba the Hutt. He really weighed a lot for real. He weighed 2,000 pounds, that Jabba did. Now, I'm sure they can do it better now.
But there was a lot.
They can CGI it now.
There was a lot of mechanics and stuff to go inside
practical.
They were all puppeting. Like,
Yep.
And I remember seeing the thing where there was like one person inside that did nothing but the tail.
The tail, yep. Then you had the hands.
You have the
Then you
hand,
had the mouth being
the
moved
tongue.
with the tongue. You had the eyes that would move and
People
blink.
that had,
Oh,
optic-
it was
yeah.
intricate. 2,000 pounds. Here's the fact that I didn't think about. I didn't know about this because I just didn't think about it. This is the only movie, Return of the Jedi, or only Star Wars movie, where Darth Vader does not force choke someone. The scene did exist, though, in the initial cut that showed him force choke an Imperial officer in order to gain access to the Emperor's throne room. There's a scene. This is a scene that was cut because George Lucas felt that this point had been made clearly through Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, and then he choked the guy in Star Wars as well, talking about
We
the stolen
choked just
database.
about everybody that screwed up in
Right.
Empire.
But there are photo stills of him choking the. There's a scene of. You see it on YouTube of that Imperial officer coming in and the two red Imperial guards in the red costumes keep him from going in, and Vader chokes him to say, "You can't see the Emperor right now," or whatever, something like that. But the scene is on YouTube, so there's a whole lot more fun facts about Star Wars and Return of the Jedi that I couldn't get to. But look them up. Look up fun facts. There's just a few for you since we're talking about it. Yeah, every time I hear that music there, that's the end title of The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason, who played Ralph Cramden in one of the early sitcoms from the 50s, did a lot of live Honeymooners on the Jackie Gleason show. I always get a big image in my mind of Jackie Gleason's face on the moon, like in the title sequence when it comes on. Jackie Gleason in The Honeymooners. Well, the reason I play that is MeTV has a quiz that Alan's going to give me. Now, I promise I haven't taken this quiz, but I'll let him introduce it. It's a quiz. Did Ralph Cramden or did Archie Bunker say this quote that he's going to give me? And I'm supposed to guess who said it.
When you think of two big personalities that have survived throughout time, everyone just about has heard of Archie Bunker. And Ralph Cramden's not that far away.
And it's interesting, I think, that they reports say that you read that if you believe stories that are floating around, and I tend to believe it, that they asked Jackie Gleason to play Archie Bunker first, and he turned it down. So they had very similar. Gleason and Connor had similar acting styles. You could see Gleason doing Archie Bunker.
Boisterous
really
characters, very
big,
very
opinionated,
and
funny.
One might say
reactionary. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Here's
so.
some quotes, and you have to tell me, BK, who said it. Is this an Archie Bunker saying, or a Ralph Cramden saying?
Archie Bunker, and two shows that I love, by the way.
Who said it? Now get those sandwiches wrapped up and ready to go, eh?
Now get those sandwiches wrapped up and ready
I'm
to
trying
go.
not to perform it,
right?
Because I don't want to give a clue.
That's Archie Bunker. That's my only two choices, right?
Bunker or Cramden?
Right. Okay.
And you are correct.
I'm correct. Okay. That's actually an episode where Archie had rented a big screen TV.
Now, had I performed it, I would have gone, "No, get those sandwiches wrapped up and ready to go, eh?"
Do I get bonus points if I tell you the episode it was in too?
No.
Okay. All right. Crap.
Show
I won't
off.
do it then. I won't do it. I might do it.
All right. Who said this? Well, as the bride said to the groom when they took the burnt steak out of the oven, it's as good as done.
It's as good as done. That sounds like Ralph Cramden.
Sure does, doesn't it? That's what I would say. Shall we pick Ralph Cramden?
Yeah, pick Ralph Cramden. That's a
Correct.
nifty one. Oh, whoa, good. I was a little worried on that one.
I felt like that's a Cramden.
Yeah.
All right, who said this? You got to do it. Don't you know that people make a fortune off them commercials?
Archie Bunker or Ralph Cramden. You've got to do it. Don't you know people make a fortune off those commercials? Well, there's an episode where Edith was supposed to do a dish of clothes detergent commercial. It must be Archie Bunker.
Now, let's just imagine if I did it either way. First,
right.
You gotta do it. Don't you know how much people make from those commercials? Or I could say,
I can do that.
You gotta do it. Don't you know people make a fortune at them commercials?
I can do them better than you. So. You let me do that.
I'm just saying. Which one makes you think it's the other?
I'm going to guess that's Archie Bunker.
I think it's Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
You are correct.
All right. Yay. I'm
I think
100%.
the speech pronunciation helps give that one away.
It would, so I wouldn't want to. Yeah, and I knew you wouldn't do them asking the question because that would be but you have to fight the urge, though, to do
Number
either voice.
4. This is where I'm trying to be very calm. Number 4. Who said it? I'm telling you, if he wasn't my best friend, I'd have nothing to do with him.
That's Ralph Cramden. Because that's one where he kind of dumped Norton and his buddy and met another guy to be his best friend because Norton had made him mad. Mm-hmm. He's like, if he wasn't my best friend, I'd have nothing to do with him. That's Ralph Cramden.
So far, I'm exactly with you on all these.
Oh, good. So you're good. You answer them in your mind as well.
I am. And honestly, I am being honest about it because I will let you know when I screw up.
Okay.
Who said it? See, the reason you don't know about it is because I'm modest.
That's Ralph Cramden because he had saved Alice from guys that were going to come back to get money from them from a suitcase that he'd found, and Alice was impressed that he overpowered them. He goes, "You see, I don't tell you about what I used to do. I'm modest, Alice." I think that's
sounds
Ralph.
So much like a Ralph Cramden.
I think that's
Ralph
Cramden because he's always boasting.
Correct.
Ralph Cramden.
Who said it? Number 6. I am not the one who sits in front of the television set for a whole hour staring at the same orchestra.
That's not even another line. That one was just on Pluto TV.
That's got to be Archie?
That's Archie. When Mike Meathead was complaining to Archie about, you sit there and you watch, I'm not the only one that sits and watches midget wrestling and enjoys it on television. Archie's like, well, I'm not the one that sits there and stares at the same orchestra on PBS. He's like, I like symphonies. I'm like, well, if you love symphonies, Meathead, you're going to love this. He gives him the raspberry. See, I should get extra points for going through the episode.
Number 7.
Number 7.
You're more up to speed. I'm going on my memories of a child.
Oh, how many of them are there? How many questions do we know?
There are...
That's number 7.
10.
Oh, good. Okay.
Number 7.
We're trucking right along.
Who said it? You put that turkey back, or they'll be doing your life on Medic.
Well, Medic was an old TV show in the 50s, so that's Ralph Cramden I think he was telling Norton, put that turkey back in the oven, because he's about to eat it, because Norton loved to eat all the time. Mm-hmm. Or they'll be doing your life on Medic. Yeah, that's Ralph Cramden.
Ralph Cramden. Who said it? Number 8. I'll say something nice about a goldfish.
I'll say something nice about a goldfish. That's Archie Bunker.
That's got to be Archie, isn't it?
That's Archie Bunker because Archie's neighbor Barney has a dog that's always doing things on Archie's lawn and front steps and stuff. Leave him a little present, and he can't stand him. He's like, I've never heard you say anything good about an animal in your life. He goes, I'll say something good about an animal. I'll say something about good about a goldfish. Because you have a goldfish in a tank, and it's not trouble. And when you start getting tired of it, it dies. That's the whole quote. That's what he said because he didn't care about it.
All right, number 9.
Oh, I'm done.
Who said it? Now, would you tell me why I'd put my weight down on an income tax report?
That's when the IRS were going to investigate Ralph when his taxes, they had a problem with his taxes. And he said, what's this figure here? He's like, 27657. That's my Social Security number. And Norton's like, oh, I thought it was your weight. It was a huge number. He's like, would you tell me why I put my weight down on a tax report? And the whole episode, the only reason they wanted to come in to investigate Ralph is because he forgot to sign it. And he was worried, what did I not pay? What did I not pay? They're going to kill me. So, yeah, that was the episode.
Last one as we are winding down. Who said it? $1,000 at least. With that big super TV screen to watch the game on there, that chain is going to be packed out.
That is Archie Bunker when he owned the bar at that point, Archie Bunker's place, and he wanted to rent a television to everyone to come to the bar to watch the Super Bowl and buy sandwiches and make some money. So there we go. Archie Bunker.
$1,000 television.
Yeah.
If only they
one of those old projection televisions that looked horrible to begin with when they
You are correct. You are 100%.
Yeah. Did you get them all right too?
I did, although the one that I was kind of vacillating, but you convinced me, was the one about the weight.
Oh, okay. That could have, not knowing the shows as well, that could have been either one.
Yeah.
Because they're both big guys, you know? Archie
Always
Bunker,
the same thing.
Ralph Cramden.
always the wrong people want to show me themselves.
What are you talking about? Oh, outside the window.
Dude, just walk
That's
by.
awesome.
I never get like the hot, 30 chick. I gotta get like the Gen Z.
Hey, at least somebody's coming by and waving.
Gen Z with the.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But you know what? Hey, I'll take what I can get. I've been married for so long. I'll take whatever.
And you say that because she's not
listening.
She's not listening to the show. I love being on Main Street here to people to come by and see us on the air.
Thank you for the fun.
That was fun. Thank you for giving me the quiz. We kind of turned the tables on it this time. Speak Elmira. We'll see you on the Escape Pod podcast and next week right here on WBHF.
Many of our contestants are chosen from the studio audience for future shows, so if you'd like to be one, write us and close a self-addressed stamped envelope and mail to Tickets, Match Game 74, CBS Television City, 7800 Beverly Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90036.
Don't ever tell a lie. Say your prayers at night before you go to bed. And so, as our friends south of the border could say, adios, amigos.